Actually,
All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone. Welcome back for the March edition of the Austin Southwest Community Roundtable. My name is Ernest Bellamy, one of the West Region city planners for DPD. I will be leading today's meeting. As a general reminder to those, if you're not speaking, please mute your microphone, as it'll help kind of tamp down on some of the background noise, not only on your end, but mine as well. So without further ado, here's today's agenda. A welcome and brief overview on Best Southwest by myself. We will have a West Side Club briefing from the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago by Michael Crowley. Followed by quarter manager update by Malcolm Crawford.
Understood.
And go over the next meeting date. So without further ado, welcome Austin. Welcome everybody, welcome back. Much appreciated that you're able to join this afternoon virtually.
It was just
join the roundtable.
Obviously, you have the athletic field that's there.
So as we've been customarily doing for those who have not joined the roundtable before, as a little bit of an overview, Invest Southwest is an initiative to marshal the resources of multiple city departments, community organizations, and corporate partners across 12 quarters within the city in 10 different neighborhoods on Chicago's south and west side, all targeted at reactivating neighborhood cores and spur economic development. You can see here on the screen that the 10 different neighborhoods, of which the 12 quarters are on the right side of the screen. As a reminder of community agreements, when you're at the meeting, please mute yourself during presentations when you are not speaking. Please state your name when you initially speak. Please use the Zoom Q&A function for any questions outside of the designated Q&A period, as well as raise your hand. Feel free to respond back verbally or raise the little Zoom hand so you can be recognized. All questions are valid. All questions and ideas are valid, and also remember to respond with respect. So without further ado, off to our second agenda item, the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago briefing on the new West Side Club by Michael Crowley. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Ernest, and pleasure to meet everybody and pleasure to see those that I've already had the pleasure of meeting. And thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of the roundtable today. My name is Michael Crowley. I am Chief of Staff for Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago, and I'm here today basically to just share our excitement and give you a little bit of a window into our plans for this new club that we're going to be building on the west side of Chicago. My goals are really to ensure that everybody is fully aware of these plans, that you can engage with us openly and consistently moving forward, and that you have an access point for the services that we're going to provide. I want to make sure you have someone who you can connect with, both between now and when we open our doors, and of course for the many years after. Can you go to the next slide, Ernest? Thank you. So just to give you a little bit of background about the organization, hopefully folks are familiar with us, but if you're not, Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago, we've been providing opportunities and mentorship to Chicago's young people for nearly 120 years at this point. We are one of the city's largest and most successful youth development organizations. And I think the point I want to make is that we've built a tremendous amount of trust with residents, and we've deeply engaged and collaborated with communities for generations. And that's exactly what we continue to intend to do here with our new West Side Club. Currently, we have about 20,000 young people who come through our doors every year, and we serve our young people through a combination of what we call our legacy clubs, which are standalone clubs that we own and operate ourselves, and school-based clubs, where we have a dedicated portion of a CPS elementary or high school and run a club through that partnership. This new club will be our first newly built club for Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago in a generation. And I hope you'll agree, we believe that this represents a truly transformational opportunity for young people in Chicago to promote healing and to build bridges. We're going to have a chance here to take what we already do in our 20 plus clubs around the city and do it better, take it to another level. And we're also going to be able to leverage this specific location, which is, as folks probably know, is on a shared campus with the Joint Public Safety Training Academy, as well as 2 other restaurants and businesses, to build those bridges, especially building bridges between our young people and families and the public safety trainees who will ultimately be serving and protecting them. But first and foremost, this is absolutely going to be a club for the community, for Austin, West Garfield Park, West Humboldt Park. It's going to complement and build upon all of the other fantastic services, opportunities, and resources already being provided in the surrounding neighborhood, and becomes a part of the community ecosystem as a whole. So if you can just go to the next slide, Ernest. Those are our kids, love our kids. You can move on to the next one. This is, as folks are aware, this is an overview of the site itself for the Joint Public Safety Training Campus, and the little the square in the middle there is where our site will be. It's in the 4400 block of West Chicago, specifically the southwest corner of Chicago and Costner. Next slide. And this is just a little bit more detail there. To the west is the public plaza, and then to the west of that is the main entrance to the Joint Public Safety Training Academy, which is directly across the plaza from our main entrance, which is on the northwest side of our building. Next slide. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about how everything that you're going to see today that I'm going to share with you about the plans has absolutely been informed from community engagement over the past several years, from the building design to the floor layouts to the programming that's ultimately going to bring the space to life. All of this has been informed by the community, and particularly by young people, because we know that to go forward, you have to go together. So over the past year and a half, next slide, please. Try to move through these slides nice and quick. Over the past year and a half, we've conducted dozens of listening sessions, focus groups, structured conversations, and community forums with hundreds of individuals, including current and former Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago youth, that have really helped to gauge interest and comfort level with what we're trying to do here, do some intentional brainstorming and mapping, and really get a sense of what folks' desires, wants, and needs are for this new site. We've also been, next slide. We've been really pleased to be able to participate in another dozen of community fairs, peace marches and rallies, back to school events and the like, to help get the word out about the new club and to get guidance and feedback on what folks want to see. That will only ramp up between now and when we actually open our doors. And I'll share a little bit about our timeline in a few slides here. Next slide. Actually, I think, yeah, this is good. So what I want to say is, through all of these conversations and through all this engagement that we've been doing, we've really heard 3 common refrains, especially from our young people. 1, they want this new club to be safe and inviting. 2, they want this to be new. They want it to feel like it is designed specifically for young people and for our Boys and Girls Clubs youth in this community. And 3, that it is fun, that it is filled with engaging activities that interest them and that they want to participate in, because kids vote with their feet. They don't have to stay here. We need to keep them here. So in addition to all of this engagement, we've also been working directly with principals and staff from local elementary and high schools in the area, as well as other youth program providers, to discuss, again, wants, needs, and concerns, and to gather data that's going to help us build this programming plan that will bring the building to life once it's open. So next slide, please. Now I want to share a little bit about how this is all coming together, how all of this is informing where we're at now with our planning and design and where we're going. So next slide is our timeline. And we are sort of towards the end of our design phase and aiming to break ground on the site this spring. And I'll have more to share as we zero in on that date. And ultimately, we are looking to open our doors to have our first fully fledged program session for youth not this summer, but next summer. So June 2023 is the target date for when we'd open. That's typically late June. We start our summer programming very quickly after CPS's school year wraps up. Next slide, please. So here it is. Here's what it's coming together to look like. And it's we're very excited about this. These are some up-to-date renderings of what the exterior is going to be. On this, I just want to note that view on the left there, that's our main entrance looking from the northwest, so looking southeast there. I just want to note how the design of this building is intended to complement everything else that's happening around it, every other building on that campus, so that it really feels like it's a part of the whole. And also, my favorite part is the blue siding. Blue is our signature color here at BGCC, and the patterning of it is designed so that it actually changes depending on the time of day and the placement of the sun in the sky. So this is going to be a very dynamic structure, hopefully like just a beacon of light and hope for the neighborhood. Next slide, please. Here's a view from the back from our parking lot. That's the gym actually that you're looking at there. And then you can go to the next slide. There's another shot looking east down Chicago Avenue, and there's our rooftop deck. So we'll have a nice, safe and enclosed space where kids can get fresh air. We'll also have programming opportunities. Then we do have a green roof that you can see there to the right. Next slide. Now I'm going to go through a little bit of our floor plans, and I realize this is probably a little too small to see, but I'll just pull out some highlights. So going from our first to our third floor, this is a 3-story, 27,000 square foot building. Our first floor is really about, of course, just welcoming everybody, creating a really welcoming, diverse, and inclusive atmosphere. It's also all about activity. It's about movement, and it's about energy. So we've got our games room. That's actually going to turn into a music studio, because that's something that we heard very specifically from young people that they want to engage with. We have a teaching kitchen, and this is really cool because all of our clubs have kitchens because we serve meals. This one, we're going to take it up a notch and turn it into a teaching kitchen, hopefully leveraging partnerships with the neighboring restaurants and bringing in skills development and workforce opportunities around health and wellness, culinary arts, nutrition, and hospitality. So a lot of really cool opportunities to come there. And then of course our gym, which is the centerpiece of all of our clubs. It's a nice big gathering space for athletics, of course, but also meetings, events, performances, etc., for youth, families, and community. Next slide, please. I think we've got a couple you can sort of scroll through these next slides. These are some interior renderings. Here's a look at what our welcoming center is coming to be. That's our teaching kitchen right there. Next slide, I think, shows the eating area, which has a partition from the teaching kitchen. So you can have 2 separate program spaces, but also open it up. Here's a look at our gym. And I just want to note on this one, there's a lot of space within the gym where we're going to be able to use more youth voice to create murals, to create what the gym floor is going to actually look like, to honor community heroes and the like. We've intentionally created a lot of blank space where youth can actually help with the design component of it. Next slide, please. Yeah, here's our games room. You can go on to the next one then. So now we're going up to the second floor here. The second floor is all about creativity, making, building things. We have our art studio. We have a maker space. We'll have a dance and fitness studio up there. And then we'll have a showcase space. That's that sort of more open space on the top right there, where kids will be able to take what they've built, take what they've learned, and showcase it to their peers, to their mentors, where we can have family nights, bring in community members, and really showcase in sort of a gallery setting what kids have been creating. You can go to the next slide. And then this is our third floor. Third floor really takes it up a notch, and this is about leadership. This is about civic and community engagement. So we're going to have our teen space, which is a dedicated space for our team members up on that floor. We're also going to have our tech space up on that floor. And then the top right space there, that large open space, that's going to be our community learning center. And it's got big, beautiful windows that look out towards the skyline and towards the rest of the campus. We're really excited about this space. On the whole, this building is intended to be very flexible, right? So it's intended to be adaptable and accessible for everybody who comes through the doors. And you can come through the next space. I know we got some questions coming in. Ernest, do you want me to take these now or wait until I go through and then we can?
Michael, it's totally up to you if you want to take.
How about I've got just a couple more minutes. I'll finish and then we can go to it.
Okay.
Great. This is an interior of what that learning space is going to look like. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so in terms of programming, this really just tracks with the floor plans that I just laid out. And as I said, we're still building this programming plan with community and youth engagement. But I just want to say that what's really special and fundamental about our programming model is that this building is going to be a living, growing, and evolving space. So as we learn more about what youth and families want to see in the space, we can adapt and we can bring in new opportunities. So the whole building is designed to be flexible and really to be as relevant today as it will be generations from now, because this is a club that's going to be here for generations. Next slide. You can just go through the next two. This just mentions a couple of the programming potentials that we're working on. And then the next one. And then, so I do want to make a note about partnerships here, because really partnerships is what's going to make this a club for the community in the way that we want it to be. So that means being a great neighbor, right? That means building those bridges with everybody, not just up and down Chicago Avenue, but everybody in surrounding communities and with our neighbors on the Joint Public Safety Training Campus. So we have, you can go to the next slide, I believe here. Yeah, so we've been having a lot of conversations with the restaurants that are going to be directly to our east about potential partnership opportunities, and like I said, bringing in resources and programming possibilities for our kids. We've also been talking very regularly with leadership from CPD and CFD, excuse me, and the leadership of the Joint Public Safety Training Academy. And this is really about how we can thoughtfully and intentionally and sensitively introduce our young people to the trainees who are going to be on that campus as our neighbors, and vice versa. How can we introduce each other to these spaces? How can we even potentially at some point, as we build up this partnership and as we raise the lever to comfortability, share some of these spaces and resources? This is going to be an ongoing conversation that we've been having over the past year and a half, but that we have to continue between now and when we open our doors and moving forward well into the futures. Because our vision here and what we've heard from our alumni, our young people, and a lot of the community that we've been talking to this point is that this can be, and it needs to be, a transformational opportunity to really create a new path toward a new relationship and a new pathway for building bridges between public safety officials and the youth and communities and families that they serve. That is what we need to get right here, and that is what we absolutely will get right. But we realize that this is a very challenging topic of conversation, which is why we need to be doing it with our young people's voices at the forefront. Next slide. Just to sort of wrap up, and then we can go into some questions. There are going to be a lot more engagement opportunities to come, not just between now and when we break ground, and between when we break ground and when we open our doors, but all throughout and well beyond that. So just a couple of things that we're working on at the moment. One, we're trying to source from the community and from a lot of our young people what I'm calling a wall of wishes. So hopes, prayers, thoughts for what folks want this club to be, so that we can be, sort of engaging as a touch point for now, but then ultimately turning this into some sort of a piece of art that we can install permanently within the club in the future. We're also going to be forming a youth council. This will be a formal program within Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago. We've got the next couple of months to recruit for it and promote it. So I definitely am open to suggestions on how we can continue to do that and reach more people. But this will be a program that runs formally throughout the duration of the next school year and helps to inform exactly how we're building these partnerships, especially with leadership from CPD, CFD, and the Training Academy, because that's crucial. And that will be a program that runs up until the official opening of the club and then continues throughout, and will be an actual youth council for our new West Side Club. And then ultimately, we will also be looking to form a club advisory council that helps us to guide as we're continuing this planning, but again, helps to make sure that this is a sustainable club that is relevant for generations to come, and that becomes a true milestone of hope, light, and brightness for the community. I think just to wrap it up then, I just want to say that we know how critical it is to get everything about the planning for this club right. And that's why we really think this represents a doubling down on our commitment, not just to the city of Chicago, not just to Austin, West Humboldt Park, and West Garfield Park, but especially to all of the young people and the families that we serve now, and that we will be very proud to serve in the years to come. So I think that wraps up my presentation, and now I'm happy to have a conversation, take some questions.
Thank you, Michael. And before we get into the questions, I just wanted to acknowledge that we have Alderman Mitz on the roundtable with us. Alderman Mitz, thank you, and thank you for joining, and welcome to the roundtable.
Thank you very much. Glad to be.
Okay, well, we have some questions here in the chat. Some of the elements of it have been. Oh, go ahead, Alderman. I wasn't sure if you're complete. It looks like you're complete saying what you're going to say. Okay.
Allowing folks from the community to come in and maybe like.
It looks like we got a question from Jared.
Yeah. So,
and then, we want to make sure that the project also complements what the park.
So it looks like there are a few questions in the chat from Jared. Some have seemed to be answered by some of the elements you've mentioned, Michael, but Jared, you also have a hand raised, so I'll just let you go ahead and ask away.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Some of the questions were not answered by the presentation. In fact, they were deepened by the presentation. When you, first of all, I'll confess this is the first time that I'm becoming familiar with this Boys and Girls Club, so I don't have a lot of background other than what we've heard here today. But as you were describing it, it was sounding, it was appearing, should say, to be very much a sort of law enforcement endeavor. I think by placing this club on the public safety campus, there could at least be a perception that, when you're going to this club, you're essentially going to a police or facility and being, sort of monitored, by police, perhaps in a holistic and perhaps in a, positive environment, but nonetheless, a police environment. And then when you started talking later on about, these partnerships and working very closely with them, it sounded like it was more than just appearances. It would actually be an effect as well. So I'm concerned, for a couple of reasons, because one, a lot of the community is skeptical of police. They don't want to involve their children with police at an early age. That's already a problem in this community. And the public safety campus is itself extremely controversial. So I'm very curious about, some of these objectives with regard to the placement of this location and how it's going to be structured, that it's going to just essentially be a police facility. And quite frankly, it also sounds like a public relations campaign to sort of blunt some of the complaints that people had about the community. Well, we'll put a Boys and Girls Club there, and then people won't be able to complain about it anymore. So to the extent that you choose to or can address any of those concerns, I would appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Jared. And, I'll do my best to address all of these questions. What I want to say is that first and foremost, and fundamentally for now and for the entirety that this club is in existence, this is a Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. This is our building that we own and that we will run as we do all of our 20+ clubs around the city. This is a club for the young people who are going to come through our doors and for the community. That is the fundamental purpose of why we exist. Partnerships is a part of how we bring our clubs to life. And, we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge where we are both in terms of being right next door to two Black-owned businesses of Peaches and a Culver's, and right next door to the Joint Public Safety Training Academy. We are the last thing that we ever want to do, because it literally goes against our mission and vision, is put our kids in any situation where they are at the very least uncomfortable and going further down the line, traumatized in any way. So everything that we are doing in terms of approaching that potential partnership with police and fire trainees is going to be led by youth voice. And that's part of why we're forming this youth council, to help guide the parameters, not just for what potential partnership programming could look like, or potentially sharing spaces, which we're not sure how we would do that, or if we would do that, if folks would be comfortable with that, but even just how we're going to interact. Like, would anybody ever be interested in visiting the academy and using their community space? Would we ever be interested in having some of the trainees come over here and use our community space? How can we build up those relationships? And how will we interact on the public plaza or on the sidewalk? These are all questions that we need to have answers to, and that our youth need to lead the way in that. And so we're kind of building the rampway to have more of those conversations between now and when the doors open, but of course for the future. I think the one other thing that I want to say on that is that, we've been very intentional about making sure that folks know, and especially our kids and families who are going to be serving, know that this is not a police station. This is a training academy. And that's where we kind of see the real opportunity here, as we do this thoughtfully and strategically, is we're talking about young men and women who are coming to this academy to learn how to become public safety officers. We have kids, young boys and girls, who are coming into our club who are learning to become, caring, compassionate adults. There is a tremendous opportunity to sort of help those two inform each other and create a new pathway towards what community and police or public safety relationships could look like. I realize that might sound very naive and very sort of like pie in the sky, but I do think it represents some sort of out of the box thinking that we need to do slowly, thoughtfully, sensitively, and with our youth at the forefront. And some of the things that I talked about in the presentation hopefully get to how that could be structured, how we've already been structuring it, but how it will be structured into the future.
I also wanted to kind of jump in and mention that, well, first off, Jared, thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you as well for stating that, this is the first time that you've heard of this, and that, there's been an engagement effort that has started and has been going on for a little over the past year, almost 2 years. And, obviously there are folks and individuals and even youth in the community that haven't been engaged in this, like yourself. But it's through these roundtables, it's through this increased level of engagement that we're trying to reach out and get people involved and get people in the process of being part of the conversation over the Boys and Girls Club, part of the restaurants that are coming to the campus, part of that general overall conversation. I think speaking for DPD, we are knowledgeable that we need to do a decent job of making sure that the community gets a good sense of this, and it's through not only these roundtables, but all the engagement that has happened up until this point, that we're really trying to do our best to make sure people are informed and connected as best as possible. It's been a challenge given the past 2 years, and once in a lifetime pandemic, but that's it's not an excuse. We're always trying to do our best and strive for the best as best we can.
Thank you both very much for addressing my concerns. Thank you very much, Mr. Crowley, for your intentionality with regard to addressing youth concerns and making sure that it's a youth-driven environment. I would urge caution in this regard, and I would also, state that, as I'm sure you're aware, this may be youth-driven as far as what they subjectively want, but they also operate in a larger context, and that's their homes and that's in their communities. And in their homes, there may still be some skepticism, with regard to the level of wherewithal of their children, and whether or not they're being naive about whether or not they're actually going to a police facility or not. Whether that's true, we're talking perceptions as well. And the other thing is, in that context, unfortunately for some of them, going to what is even perceived as a police facility could literally be dangerous. So I would just urge caution in this area.
Thank you for that, Jared. I really appreciate those thoughts. It's very, very relevant. And that's why we need to keep having these conversations.
Any other questions from the roundtable?
Yes. Is it okay to talk?
Of course. Ahead,
yes. And I just sent a message to you, Gerard. I just wanted to say thank you so much. But I just wanted to give another global position at us of working 25 years with Alderman Mitz, and this Boys and Girls Club, creating hope in our community for our kids to give them another path. But I also want to point out to Gerard that this training academy and the opportunity for our youth to understand, because a lot of times our youth in the public school system don't get the right counseling to let them know career paths at a younger age. This is not just a police academy. This is a first responders academy. And this is to be able to teach our kids, to be able to have interaction, to be able to learn at a young age what those career paths and opportunities are by being able to interact. As Michael said, this is a training academy. This is where we have young trainees coming into police, fire, and emergency response. And it gives them the opportunity to understand and be able to grow and have a future and hope. And so with this being a first responders academy, I think it just gives a greater depth to the possibilities to give opportunities to our kids in the greater Austin community. And kudos to Alderman Metz for having a vision to be able to make this happen in the 37th Ward.
Thanks, Margaret.
Thank you.
Out there saying, oh, hey,
Thank you very much.
Any
So,
final
I think
questions
it's also a
for
gesture
Malcolm?
to
Or,
communities
pardon,
that,
Michael?
look, you're not.
I'll look forward to keeping this group updated as we move forward for sure. And Ernest, I can also share, you're welcome to share the my contact information, which is right there on that slide, actually.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for this presentation. Apologies for the background noise.
It's my pleasure. It's an
Ethan.
honor to be here.
Ethan, I would like to add something that just came up this week with regards to our Public Safety Training Academy. I've been contacted by Coper, and they want to have space within inside the academy office and also a classroom. I just spoke with the director to see if at all, while we are building out this, if there's a space, but making sure that that community room stays available for the community. So they have agreed. And we've also given a presentation, and hopefully you can bring them on and let our chief officer explain the role of COPER, since we haven't had that service really provided where the community can understand their role and to be on site to be able to see how officers are trained so that they can better help to address the concerns that they have to deal with on a daily basis. So that is something that's in the works, as well as we'll come back and share an added addition for the firemen to have a training space at this location. It appears when they have omitted their space, but they have included for the west, southwest wall to add that space so that paramedics rather can have training as well. So everybody be training, everybody be able to see and interact at this location. And just to remind everyone, we haven't had a city agency in our community, and to get 2 in 1, I think would be a great added incentive to our neighborhood.
Well, thanks for that added layer of understanding to how multi-layered this site is, Alderman Metz. Much appreciated.
Yes, and to Department of Planning, just want you to know that you all are doing what you're supposed to do. This project originally started under AIS, and which was another agency, and they were doing presentation, but for the Invest Southwest, I think the plans just recently came to you, so you'll be able to present. But this is a project that we've been working on for the last 4 years now, almost, in trying to complete it. So thanks to all the hard work that everyone have done on this project, and to the community, the young peoples, and doing all the work that we needed to do to get here. And we'll continue to add, and we're going to continue to move forward with changing our area, having city agencies in our area as well as business. And the business are coming. So we're grateful for it.
Thank you so much, Alderman Mitz. So moving forward, our next agenda item is a quarter manager update by Malcolm Crawford of AAA BNA. Malcolm, take it away.
All right, well, thank you guys. And we have a few things. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Dimitri Shelton. He is working as our community development coordinator. And we got a little background ourselves here. So if they can turn down, that's in the office. If you can turn down, that would help me. And so what we're gonna do, there's been a couple of projects that are close to, that have finished or are close to being finished. And so Dimitri's gonna tell you guys about a couple of the projects that are in place on Chicago Avenue. Dimitri.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I said, I am Dimitri Shelton, Assistant Corridor Manager here at AAA BNA. I'm going to briefly inform you all of some of the updates of the businesses on the corridor. First, we had a Dream Center, owned by Marcel, and have some of the services that he offers as far as business consulting, executive summit plans, market research plans, financial projections, and private offices, as well as dedicated desks and virtual addresses and virtual assistants. And they do have the website that you all could go visit and contact them through the virtual assistant. You go to the next slide. So Brown Soul Food Restaurant is coming right along and it should be open soon. Go to the next slide. So TNC Fitness, you received an update from them as well. Their roof is completed. The carpentry services is underway very soon. And overall TNC Fitness is 25%. Go to the next slide. So this is the St. Rock mural that's located on the east side of the TNC Fitness building. They informed that the launch date for unveiling of the mural will be March 3rd. So we talked to the owners of the Laramie State Bank, and it's moving right along, and we've been informed that community engagement will resume next week. That's all the updates that we did receive as far as what's going on the corridor, and I will turn it back over to my prof.
And so what I'm gonna try to do is be in touch with everybody so that other projects and different things that are happening along the corridor, that we're able to keep everybody informed as to what's happening, the percentage of where they are with the projects. And I really appreciate different ones reaching out. Margaret Garner, I really appreciate her reaching out and talking about the Boys and Girls Club and us being able to have that. Also, on the last roundtable, about the development of Chicago Avenue with CDOT. I want you to know that the Chicago Avenue had its second public workshop, and that was March 1st. There was close to 50 participants. We are moving forward with the creation of the design concept, and they would like for everybody to please refer to the website for a summary. And I believe that I thought she was still on the call, but we can get you guys the actual website for the summary, and there will be a third public workshop held soon. And there will be those that will get invitations to that third public workshop as it relates to that design of Chicago Avenue. And I would just ask you guys to please, please, please stay tuned and stay engaged in that concept, because whatever that looks like is what Soul City is going to look like. So we ask that you guys please stay involved in that process. That was an easy one. If there's anything else, if anybody has anything as we go that you would like added as updates to projects on Chicago Avenue, please let us know, and we will be sure to add those in the deck as we go every month roundtable. I want to personally thank Ernest, because Ernest has really stepped in and been doing a good job offline meeting and pulling this stuff together. Thank you, Ernest.
and everything.
Thanks,
But I
Malcolm.
think
Much
we do
appreciated.
You know, we get your priority. Your, you
Well,
know, the reason behind,
So
you know, what,
just wanted to hold the floor
And
for
also,
any.
I'd like to say thank you. Wade just put in the chat that information that we needed far as, and I see Leslie. So those sites are available on the chat if you guys continue to check out what's happening with the with CDOT and streets.
building.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Wade and Leslie, for the chat assistance as well. I'll hold the floor for a few minutes for any Q&As, additional Q&As. Ethan, I see you have your hand raised. Feel free to ask away.
Oh, hi, everyone. My name is Ethan with Austin Coming Together, and I was just wondering if I'm glad to hear that Laramie State Bake project or development is continuing and developing, and I was wondering if you could provide a little bit more detail and where exactly in the development process it is. Is it at like a fundraising level? Like where is it before it quote unquote breaks ground?
So thank you for that.
Hello, everybody. This
Ethan.
is
Oh, you're on,
hey,
Athena.
I'm Malcolm. Yes, I
Okay.
am. Hey,
All right.
Ethan, how are you? If I'm not mistaken, you and I are scheduled for a sit down, but we are in the very early stages of really bringing everything together. That's why the statement says that I'll resume community engagement next month. But if you want to help with fundraising that's Austin Coming Together, please raise your hand.
Right now, I'm just looking for an update, but that's helpful. What does the community engagement look like then?
The community engagement looks like working with the community in multiple capacities. So we'll have a stringent outreach for construction careers. We'll have a stringent outreach to help develop youth around construction careers. We'll have a stringent piece around the arts and cultural. As a matter of fact, we're bringing together an arts committee, and Antonia Rupert is going to run that with our LOI partner, Keith Brownlee. So that's just a snippet of what we'll be doing.
Cool. Thank you.
And can I also say, there will be we just wanted to have just to put in so that you guys know, but we did talk to Athena, and there is a plan to have a more detailed update as we go. And so we just want to just make sure that you guys know about different things that are in the pipeline. So yeah, we just asked her. I just asked her if she would come on, and but next week next month's roundtable we will have a more detailed path forward as relates to that project.
Yeah, and Malcolm and Ethan, particularly as the co-chair of the housing committee for the Austin Quality of Life Plan, you have upfront and direct contact with me to get everything and all the information. I'm just waiting on Austin Coming Together to set up that platform for me to give all that information out. So let me know when you're ready.
All right, thank you for that question, Ethan. Jared, I see you have your hand raised as well. Feel free to ask away.
Thank you. I had a follow-up question to the answer to Ethan's question. So this outreach, Athena, that you mentioned, would that be in the form of just sort of a general announcement that this opportunity exists and you'll invite people to come to you, sort of, partnering with different people to post in their networks, hey, we're having a meeting for, contractors, or we're having a meeting for, this discrete group or that discrete group. If you're a part of that group, come to us. Or conversely, is this stringent outreach sort of the developer, you taking the initiative to identify those people ahead of time and then reach out to them directly and invite them directly to come into that space? And then also, it may be premature as the landscape is always constantly changing. Do you anticipate these to be, gatherings in person, virtually, or some combination thereof. Thank you.
Is this Jared from the Board of Directors from Austin Come Together?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the outreach, most of it at this point is hopefully can be in person. We're partnering a lot with Alderman Mitts, hopefully using her community room. And when I say stringent outreach, we're going to do a newsletter that's going to go to 55,000 households in Austin. So that's one way that we're going to get the word out. So it's not choosing certain people. It's going to be open, and all those that want to participate, it's available for them to participate. All of those that want to get information, it's available for them to get information. We don't want to leave one stone unturned.
No, thank you. I understand that as far as like community engagement, but it also sounded as if as far as like the actual implementation of the development, you would be looking at, community contractors, community employers, community employment networks to sort of fill those roles. And it was sort of that more specific needs filling function that I was wondering, would that be the same, just sort of general, we'll cast a wide net and see what we catch, or will there be a little more intentionality about that piece?
Well, so for the community that we serve, Gerard, we will have to cast a wide net in order to be intentional, because it's so many situations where we miss people, right? So we need to cast a wide net so that nobody gets left out of this process. So we cast a wide net, we work through all of our partners, and hopefully we'll be able to draw on those, especially those that hardly ever get a voice at the seat at the table. So we want to leave it open. We want to cast that wide net. And to me, casting the wide net is intentional.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any final questions?
I mean, we're going to get comments.
I would just like to say, we really appreciate everybody coming to these roundtables. And if there's more that should be added, this is our opportunity. Not today, but I'm saying in general, as we grow this platform, this is our opportunity to speak on different things that are happening in the community and in the corridor. So I would just ask that as we go, if there's certain things that you guys would like to have addressed, or that if there's certain things that's going on that's positive in the community, or just like when the Boys Foundation reached out and asked can they be a part of this conversation, I think this is the way that we're going to get things done, by coming to this platform and engaging. So please know that this is a platform that we all should be able to take advantage of, and it's not just be the city giving us information, but us giving the city information and giving them direction as to what needs to happen in our community.
Thanks for that, Malcolm. And I see Morris Reed, you have your hand raised, and thanks for the great input into the chat.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Before the meeting ends, I didn't know if Liz had a chance to speak, but there's something really great happening on the corridor. It's the Soul City Community Market. It's open every weekend from 10 to 3. Great vendors. We need additional vendors. If you're interested in additional vendors, please contact Jalen Rand at 773-378-1878 to be a community vendor at the Soul City Community Market, and also to get more details. We have a guy, it's been on the radio station. I think we have billboards up, but we need your support. And the support of this market is so important because it creates a culture of supporting new things coming to the corridor. And it also is an engagement process for the development of 40 Acres Fresh Market and its new development, which is coming to the community this year. So by the end of this year, we will be breaking ground on that grocery store. But it's so important for us to start establishing a culture and habits of spending in our own neighborhood, especially look at fresh produce and different other food types of items. We want to make sure that we shock the world when people say that Austin or the Soul City couldn't support a grocery store. You know, we had too many leave, but this is going to be your store. This is going to be the community store, and the engagement starts by this Soul City Community Market. The only way to make this your store is to visit on the weekends from 10 to 3, where there's entertainment, there's demonstrations, there's great vendors. We want everybody who's anybody to participate and get on board. And it's at the old Salvation Army thrift store at 5713 West Chicago Avenue. Like I said, the future home of the state-of-the-art community market, which will focus on fresh produce, fresh meats, and wholesale items. The only timeline, the fundraising has been completed, the ownership has been completed. Brown and Moman will be the general contractors. The final designs are going in place. The only thing that we're waiting for now is just to make sure we work with CDOT, because there's going to be some infrastructure changes that's going to be needed to improve the entire site. We want that corner to really look new and fresh and bright. So we have to relocate some light poles. We may have to relocate some trees, which is working with the Bureau of Forestry, which may cost us a little bit more, but we want to make sure people is very visible. But there's also some street changes on Waller that we want to widen so we can compete with the other stores in other neighborhoods, so we can get the wholesalers who will supply the inventory to the store, and we can get the prices to be competitive with any other store. We don't want people coming to the store saying, oh, it's just too high there, but we want to offer upscale items at competitive prices, which I think we deserve as a community. And it all starts with these weekend markets. So start going to these weekend markets. People love them. I love them. The star of the show has been this operator, the vegan operator. Brent was on here earlier. I'm sorry, I don't have all the details in front of me, but it's a vegan store operator who we want to make sure that she gets a sit-down restaurant on Chicago Avenue as well, because she's one of the best. She sells out fast, and it's just it's an incredible thing. So we'll be doing it at this location through May. Then it rolls over to Austin Town Hall in June during the summer months for more of an outdoor affair. But this is sort of give you a preview of the before, so you could be so amazed of the after once we lay this store out. And trust me, guys, we're going to lay this store out. It's going to be something proud and amazing on a corridor. So we look very excited for it. But we do need your help to build that culture of people just shopping on Chicago Avenue and create more hope and inspiration for other vendors and other entrepreneurs to come. And we're in it to win it. So we're going to put all our energy, 110% behind it. But word of mouth and promotion is very important. And so we could do all we can on commercials and billboards. But everybody on this call today, you know, I would appreciate it if you could just say, hey, have you heard about the Soul City Community Market? I think you should check it out. 10 to 3 p.m. on every weekend until the end of May. So more details to come. I know Liz had to jump off this call, but maybe even one day we can feature it and show some video and show some clippings and some other things so people can actually get a real feel for it if they haven't or they haven't been able to actually visit the marketplace. So I just wanted to put that out. Today is Friday. So tomorrow it's going to be open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the weather is getting better. So there's no excuse. And there's plenty of parking. There's plenty of parking. There's even parking across the street if I have to. I've already met with the church who has all that parking space across the street. So there's no excuse for parking. We got nearby parking that could be available. You're going to deal with African-American vendors and complementary vendors and dealing with food and health and nutrition and wellness. It's springtime. It's time for us to be well. And then they can go work out at Cornelius Cole, the new gym. So the fitness center. So it's all working together. And I like the way everything complements each other that's being developed on this strip. The city services, the Boys and Girls Club, the new things that are coming. I think that, working with an alderman like Emma Mitz, she's very in the middle of things that could tie it all together to make sure that everything is successful. So I really appreciate her work. I appreciate the work of this group, the work of AAA BNA and promoting businesses. And so, hey, I'm just glad to be in a room, part of this history. So good Friday, everybody. That's all.
Thanks, Morris. Thanks for that info. I took a little quick snippet from the website and threw it up on the screen for everyone. If you can give me that vendor info phone number again, I'll put it on the screen so everyone can have it.
You can call 773-378-1878 and ask for Jada Lynn. Jaidyly. I don't know, something like that,
And I really
Yeah.
hope that we recorded Morris, because that was an infomercial that we can use from now until forever, because he knocked it out the park talking about everything up and down Chicago Avenue. This is what it's all about. Thank you, Brother Morris.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
vision and your work, man. It's awesome.
Thank you, Morris. And yeah, we
Love
got
it. Love it.
we got it recorded, and he even got me enticed to come out. I'm curious to come see what's happening out there on a Saturday. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining today. We are basically right at time. Let's see here. Lastly, I just wanted to let you all know we have the next roundtable scheduled for April 15th. Barring any changes, this will be any changes that you will get notified of ahead of time. This will be our next roundtable date, April 15th, Friday, April 15th at 12 noon. Until then, thank you all for joining for today, and look forward to connecting with you all next time at the roundtable, and also being in touch via email in between. So take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.